الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم ينفعنا بما علمتنا ولم ينفعنا وزد علما من كريم رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Everyone was partying last night, so we had a late morning. There was a big program here at the center last night. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your attentions and being here and getting knowledge. So today we're at the second session on the Ramadan prep course, and we're going over fiqh Ramadan. Well, fiqh literally means understanding, literally, but Islamically it means rules and legislation limits, if you will, of Ramadan. And you notice that I labeled it Ramadan and not fasting, because we're going to go over some of the rulings outside of this fasting itself. Of course, that is the moon sighting and Taraweeh mainly, if you will, and a couple other things about the prayer and for Taraweeh. Sometimes you see people that do different things, inshallah ta'ala. So hopefully this will be beneficial for you and clear up a lot of your questions. Obviously, we know that fasting is a pillar of Islam, right? It is something that's obligated towards us. As the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in Islam, Bunya al-Khams, has built on about 5, and he mentioned that fasting is one of them. So it's really important that you understand this, that you understand the rulings of Salah, is understand the rulings of fasting. Because that will be something you'll be held accountable on Yawm al-Qiyamah if you do not fulfill. It's what we call the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Islam we have 2 different rights, either rights of Allah or rights of humans, right? Or it could be animals too, if you do something to an animal or something other than Allah. So this between you and Allah is what is something you have to fulfill. And as you being a Muslim and testifying that He is your only true God, there's certain things that you have to fulfill that He has commanded you because you acknowledge Him as being your Lord. And so therefore we want to make sure that we fast in the most proper way, and there's things that happen while we're fasting, so we want to make sure that we know how to recompense ourselves if something does happen. So what we're going to go over is a long list. We started about 30 minutes late, so we might go over 30 minutes. It depends on your permission. If not, we'll stop at 12 inshallah ta'ala. So we're going to go over intro to fasting, who must fast, intentions, how before you're fasting, how is that played out, who's excused, what invalidates the fast, making up fast, just like acts while fasting, manners of fasting, more recommendations, Taraweeh, the Salah itself, the prayer, the extra prayer that we do in this month, Ramadan, moon sighting, and we'll go into just more of the relations of what is that, and we're not necessarily going to pass any fatwas here, or any like laws or rulings, and then miscellaneous issues are related issues to Ramadan itself. And then we'll have a Q&A inshallah ta'ala if we get to it. So first and foremost, what is fasting? So in Arabic we use the word sawm, right? And this is linguistically, it's used in the Quran to mean to refrain from something. Not just food, as Maryam alayhi salam mentions in Surah 19, chapter 19, where she says that I'm going to make nadartu sawma ila Rahman. I've made a vow to fast to Ar-Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that she will not speak and will not talk to anybody, not necessarily eat. Same thing, this is also mentioned in Zachariah alayhi salam, when he was going to give mention of having a child, that he will take a fast where he will not speak except for hand movements and so forth, or gestures, if you will. So that's what linguistically means. Islamically, we know that means abstaining or refraining, probably refraining is a better word than abstaining, from eating, food, drinking, and intercourse with one's spouse during the daytime of Ramadan. So there's a couple of explanations. We'll go into those things when we get into the details, inshallah ta'ala. So that's actually what fasting means, what we do. And that's something I think all of us know already. So what's this ruling? It's obligatory, as we mentioned before, and also the verse in the Quran, the very famous ayah that you guys should all know. You don't have to necessarily be a scholar to know this verse, but everyone knows this verse now. In Surah Baqarah, verse 183, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, kutiba alaykumus siyam," that fasting siyam has been prescribed upon you, as prescribed those before you, la'allakum tattaqun, that you have people of taqwa. Tattaqun. Tattaqun is a verb here, meaning that you practice taqwa. Meaning that you could abstain from what? Things that Allah has forbidden you to do. You got to be conscious of that. Taqwa, we go into a whole tangent on what that actually means, but I think we spoke about it before in length, so that should be good. So kutiba in Arabic it actually means what's written. It means that it has been obligated for you. It's like a metaphorical use of the word. And so it's used in other places also. So that is why we do fast, as being obligated. And there's other things why. Muslims have been doing this ever since Prophet has come. Anyone know when it was legislated? What year in the life of the Prophet? Stuff you should know. That's my seerah class. Maybe you shouldn't know.
I'm guessing from like ranging from like 9 to like 13, somewhere there.
9 to 13. You mean previous Hijri? Before the
No, I wouldn't say post.
Okay, well, post was passed away in the year 10, so they won't be at 11, 12. Passed away in the year 11, actually, but early 11. It was legislated in the second year after Hijrah of the Prophet's migration to Medina. Before, they said the Battle of Badr. So some of the people might ask, like, oh, the Muslims were fasting during the Battle of Badr, the first battle the Muslim participated in. Well, since it's a battle that they were going to excuse, that's one excuse that you could not fast, because they had to travel. So they had to travel to this place called Badr, the land called Badr, where they fought. So that's what some scholars have said, that they were they took the concession of not fasting. So it was prescribed in the second year. So Muslims and the Prophet fasted for about 8 years of his life before he passed away. And that's where they first was legislated. That's mentioned. So the fiqh of fasting. Let's go over a couple things. Who's obligated to fast? Number one, a Muslim, obviously. Scholars always have to mention that. So we non-Muslims don't have to fast. They're not demanded or addressed by the verses of the Quran. Some verses they are, but using out the words of Allah. Second person, a sane person. Someone who's not mentally has a disorder, right? Other things that goes in Down syndrome, other things, if you will, that they are off this. Obviously, the mind is a big thing in terms of Islam, in terms of you, whether you have to do obligatory or obligation or not. Number three, reach the age of puberty or the age of reasoning. People use different terms of this. So that means from the age of, the Prophet mentioned in a hadith about salah, he said that if your child is 7 years old, then encourage them to pray. And once they get the age of 10, the Prophet said, like kind of like push them and urge them, if you will, not necessarily strike them. Like the Prophet didn't hit children, so that's where you understand what the word means here. So he said, like, push them, encourage them to pray, meaning that by the age of 10 they should. Some scholars said, you know what, this hadith is just a recommendation, but anytime a child becomes the age of puberty, if he's 12, 13, then that is the age. But it's for the Hanafis and other schools of thought to go from that, the strict age of 10. And that also, what I put there, obligated to their ability. If the kid's age of 10, but he is like weak, he can't do all 30 days, then he does as much as he can. Right? And then you can make up the days later afterwards and so forth. Right. Very noisy.
My daughter's.
Oh, okay. I didn't know she was over there. Well, like, wow, that's really weird. Okay, good. I'm good. And then also, who's also free from not having to fast for those who are obligated, right? So who's free from it? Obviously, there's the exceptions here. Number one is women who are menstruating and women who are in postnatal bleeding. After they have a child, there's a period where they are bleeding for X amount of time. And then once that bleeding stops, then they're obligated to fast. And it's very important for sisters to really write down their days of menstruation, because that could either mean that they're going to miss a day or they're going to have to make up the day. It's something very serious. And there's apps and all these kind of things to like track your menstruation and when you start and when you don't start. And if you have questions about that, you can ask me. If not, my wife does a session on menstruation for sisters, so she can ask her. I'll give you her contact, inshallah, if you feel more comfortable talking about that. So let's go over a couple things also about who is. Well, let's go over the intentions really quick. Sorry, intentions really quick before I go over some of the exceptions. So intentions, the scholars have mentioned. All the scholars except Imam Malik, rahimahullah, that's Hanafis, that's Shafi'is, that's Hanbalis. There's 4 schools of thought. I think some of you, all you guys kind of somewhat know, is that you should make your intention every single night. Every night of fasting is a independent worship, if you will, right? Because, for example, if you break your fast one day, let's say you get sick or you travel, that doesn't affect your fast the next day, right? Every day is like its own individual fast, even though it's all in the month of Ramadan, if you will. So you should make your intention from the night before. So Islamically, the night starts before the day. It's opposite. It's really tricky for some Muslims to understand this. Very kind of like, almost like, a trivia question. So it starts after the Maghrib of the night before until, the scholars say until midday. Okay. So you could technically, you could wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and say, you know what, oh man, I miss to eat the suhoor in the morning, or the breakfast in the morning, but I can make my intention up till the midday, if you will. Why do scholars say the midday? It's because it's half of the day that you're fasting. Because in Ramadan, it's kind of special because you can't do any other fasting in Ramadan. It's like, that's already, legislated for you to fast that day. So you have the ability to make your intention up to midday. Midday is not necessarily 12 o'clock. It's whatever, you have to count the hours, whatever that is. That's 10, that's 1 o'clock. How many days of daylight divided by 2, if you will. And then you find that out. Okay, good. How do you make your intention? So even though it's all like technical, this whole intention thing, honestly it's very simple. And one of you guys that took the hadith class, we talk about intentions. Intention, we say it's in the heart. It's not on the tongue. You don't have to say that I intend to fast today for the month of Ramadan. You don't have to say that. It's in your heart. So how do you know if you're in your heart? We say that, scholars said that someone will stop you and say, hey, what are you doing? You say, I'm fasting. It's Ramadan. You have it, right? You know you're doing it, right? So most of us wake up in the morning to eat the breakfast, right? There's only one reason we're eating breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like no one else does that regularly, unless you have like a really early morning job or something, right? But only one reason why we're waking up, because we're fasting. So by you waking up and eating that breakfast, is that showing that what your intention is. And even if you miss it, you wake up late, until you miss Fajr or something like this, if you will, and inshallah that will be that going to happen to you, that you probably went to sleep knowing that I'm going to fast the next day. So you have that intention. So it's not something to go crazy about. Oh, I didn't say it, I forgot to make the dua in the morning. You don't have to do that. It's all extra things if you will. So if you want to, that's good. You can do that. If you will. Questions on intentions? Good. So excuse for not fasting in Ramadan. Number one is those who are sick. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever is sick from you, minkum maridan aw ala safarin, whoever is ill from you or on a journey, let him make up the days another time, outside the month of Ramadan, right? And if you're not able to do so, we'll go into the other stuff. If you're not able to do so, then they should pay, right, to feed a poor person. So let's go on, first of all, number one, being sick. So if you're sick, you are not allowed, you're excused from fasting. So what is being sick? The sick is not just that you woke up with like a cough in your throat, or you have a cut on your hand, or your pinky toe hurts you or something like this. So this is fasting is something sick is something that's going to cause harm to the body if you fast. Number two, it's going to increase your illness if you fast. And number three, if it's going to delay the recovery of your sickness because of your fasting. Okay, number one, it's going to cause harm to you. You know what, I have this really bad fever. If I fast, it's going to probably make it worse. It's going to cause harm to a bigger headache. Number two, it's going to increase this sickness. If I fast, and my fever is going to increase. Or number three, that it's going to delay the recovery. Okay. So if you wake up with a sore throat, you could probably fast. It's up to you. You have to make that decision. Okay? No one's going to. You don't have to call several people. You need to make that decision for yourself. There's some stuff here that's technically not following my slides, but anyhow, I'm going to get to it inshallah. So how do you know that okay, I'm sick enough? So those three things, and they said that if you have reasonable fear, what is reasonable fear? They said number one, that you have manifest signs. That I have like a big headache. It's very clear. Number two, you have past experience. Last time I fasted, I had this really bad headache, or I got really sick. You have previous history. Or number three, an upright, expert Muslim doctor tells you so. Right? And the thing is, the scholars have said Muslim doctor, and a lot of us don't have Muslim doctors. You might just have a doctor who's not Muslim. Why do they say Muslim doctor? Because a Muslim doctor knows how important fasting is, so they're going to just not going to give you the free, concession. Like, oh, don't fast, don't worry, big deal. Because a non-Muslim, what they know, they're like, okay, don't fast, I don't care, big deal. Who cares if you don't fast? Well, this is really important in our religion. They don't understand that. So you have to kind of convey that to them, if you will. So if you do convey that to them, they understand, then it might be acceptable to get that opinion from them. That they tell you, no, do not fast because you have this, or you have this sickness, or you go on antibiotics, you can't do it. Then you could go on. This is how to check you to make sure that you're not following your desires. Like, yes, I don't have to fast. I woke up and I have a bump on my head, or I don't feel good. Even with this, if you have this, we call this temporary sickness. Okay, when you have a temporary sickness like this, you're going to have to make up that date anyhow. So that's going to be probably after the month of Ramadan. So it's not like you're going to have to do that. And obviously, if you do it when you're more well, if you're more healthy, obviously it'll be easier for you. And then if you look at the verse of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever is ill from you or on a journey, talk about traveling, I'm going to get to that later on, and then in a little bit. And it says, those who are not capable, that they should pay a fidya. What do you mean if they're not capable? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing those who have a chronic illness. What is a chronic illness? Chronic illness is someone who fears no cure. Like, for example, someone has a cancer. Like, they feel that that's not going to go away, if they will. A chronic cancer. Sometimes people get the cancer removed from them. That usually doesn't happen within a month in Ramadan. It usually takes 6 months or some type of session, if you will. But someone who has diabetes, it's not they don't really have hope that's going to be cured tomorrow, right? So diabetes, people have certain other sicknesses, if you will, that they know that's not going to go away. So if they have, or an old age, they say, someone who just doesn't have no sickness, but this old age, if I fast, I'm going to faint, I'm going to be really weak, if you will. So that covers old age also. So someone who's in this category, they have to, Allah says that they have to feed a poor person. Now, what do you mean feed a poor person? That means they have to feed a poor person 2 meals every day that they fast, they mitzvah fast. Because that's how much that they would be fasting. They'll be fasting from usually 2 meals. Usually from their lunch and their dinner, or from their breakfast and their dinner. But usually they'll have their breakfast and their lunch. So that's why if you know someone who is brother suffer from you. It's good there's a fire alarm thing over there. Just press any button on the wall.
Oh.
Like 1 or 2 or 3, any button and take it off, inshallah. It's by the door.
Well, I know we're talking about fasting, but missing fasting, something happened to me last Ramadan, the first Ramadan. I get migraine headache.
Yeah.
And so, 10 minutes before opening the fast, I ended up throwing up and vomiting and stuff. So, how do you do? I mean, I do get migraine and I end up vomiting. What is the making up of fasting like?
So yeah, well, okay. Yeah, there's a slide on that, but yeah, in terms of if that happens where you have to break your fast because you cannot bear it anymore, or sickness overcomes you, or for women, menstruation starts during the daytime, then you have to make up that day. And there's nothing called a kafara. Kafara means like an expiation that you have to do, where you have to feed a person, or you have to fast 60 days in a row, or you have to free a slave, which is not really practical anymore these days, or you can argue against that. So if this sickness does come over you, then that's fine. Allah doesn't want, Allah, yuridu al-yusr wa la yuridu al-usr, right? The same verse in Surah Baqarah, well, right after this, Allah says, no one hardship for you, he wants ease for you. He wants ease for you, and no one hardship for you. So then you just have to make up that day. You don't have to pay a penalty by feeding someone else or something like that.
Even if you fasted all day, but like at 10-15 minutes before?
Yeah, even if it's 10-15 minutes, even if it's 5 seconds. But use your it's not kind of a hardship or anything, but yeah, even if you make that mistake, or not mistake, sorry, if you have that illness, then you have to make up that day. Yeah, and it's just like salat. If you do 2 rakats, maghrib, and the last one you get tired, you fall down. It doesn't you have to go and perform that maghrib after, because maghrib is one thing, if you will, so you can't really divide it up, right? It's a little different than any other thing if you might have. I'm trying to think of another example. So unfortunately, yes, you would have to make up that day. I know that kind of sucks in a sense.
Would paying money, would that replace fasting, or you have to do both?
So we're jumping ahead a little bit, but anyhow, that's fine. If you break your fast intentionally, you're like, you know what, I don't care, I'm just going to drink anyhow, I'm going to eat anyhow, or I'm going to have relations with my spouse anyhow during the daytime of fasting, then that's obviously a big no-no. That shows a lot of arrogance, that shows a lot of lack of respect for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, multiple things. That person will have to make up that day and do an expiation. We call it kafara. And kafara is freeing a slave, number 1. Obviously, that's not really practical anymore. You could argue against that. There's people in human trafficking and stuff, and this is put that to the side. So second thing Allah mentions in the Quran is fasting 60 days in a row. Okay. And if you're a woman, you have menstruation in between that, then you stop and then you resume. But it has to be 60 days. And there's a really harsh penalty. because what you did is kind of like very arrogant and very obnoxious for other things, right? So 60 days in a row. And if you can't do that, not because you're lazy and that's hard, and just because you physically can't, or you have a doctor's notice, or from any of those things I just mentioned, previous experience or manifest signs, or a doctor says you cannot do that, then you have to feed 60 people. 60 people, 2 meals a day. So they have said that's usually around $10 a day that you can give to somebody, money, or you can actually give them physical food, right? You could buy food and give it to them if you will. So that's it. But if you do it because of illness comes over you, or some other things I'm going to get to, then you only have to make up that day. There's no penalty for you, if you will. Penalty meaning that fasting 60 days in a row. I don't know if I answered your question. Make sense? Good. Chronic illness. So chronic illness, someone who has diabetes or has no fear of being healed, then they'll have to pay for each day that they miss. And if they can't do the whole month, obviously they've been diabetic for years, then there'll be 30 people that have to feed for 2 meals a day for each person. So if they find 30 people, right, then they have to give each person 2 meals, right? For example, they have 2 combo meals they bought at a halal restaurant or something. They'll have to give that to to 30 people, okay? And then they're done. They give them one shot, right? And then it's over. Or they can feed one person 30 times, okay? That's fine too, right? And you can do the equivalent of money. What they said it's usually around, it's the same price of the Eid al-Fitr, Zakat al-Fitr. You have to pay that money in the box before you pray. What is that all about? That's the same thing. So it's usually around $10. It's around 2 meals. $5. I usually get a combo. Usually here, customary. So you for 30 people, that'd be what, $300. So if you find one poor person, you give them $300, then that's fine. Okay. It's better to give them food because they'll eat the food. $300, they might go and do something else with it, which you're not held reliable to. If they want to go buy a new use iPhone or something, that's up to them, right? That's not your issue. The point I want to make here, you sponsoring a iftar at the masjid for your grandfather or your uncle or someone who can't fast is not feeding 30 people. Because this is talking about feeding 30 needy people. The people at the masjid are wealthy people. They're just either they want to be with the community, or they don't want to cook that night, or they want free food, or whatever it might be. They want to be, So don't think you can sponsor iftar at the masjid and say, okay, that takes care of my father or myself. I'm diabetic, and I'm done. No. So like Uplift Charity here in Southern California will be someone who takes that money and they'll give it to somebody. Or if you know someone who's needy in the community, then you can do that. Or you can tell the masjid, you know some people, can you give this to them? Who's the zakatable, if you will, you can do that for them. So I just want to let you know. Some people think they sponsor iftar on the masjid and they think they're done. That's an incorrect understanding. Okay, cool. So menstruating of the women's neck, or traveling, actually, I should say. So if you're a traveler, then you don't have to fast. So what does that mean? So let's break it down. One thing is that if you travel before you start fasting, let's say you have a really early flight, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Then you don't have to fast that day. Now if your flight is at 12 o'clock, midday, then you are obligated to fast from that morning up to your flight, okay? And then once you take off and say, it's hard for me, then you could break it. Otherwise, you're encouraged to continue fasting. But there's no blame on you. No one should point fingers at you if once you get on that plane or you travel more than 48 miles to be technically a traveler, then you say, I'm done. Allah gave me explanation. I'm good with it. I'll make it up after Ramadan. That's fine. So you don't have to look at the hardship of your travel. Today you could take a 45-minute flight to San Francisco, which is like 700 miles or 600 miles, which is past the limit of traveling, and you could probably be there without having much hardship. It's like, you have a nice comfortable flight, and you have Uber that takes you to the airport, and Uber that takes you to your hotel. So, so it's up to you. But if you do, then no problem. It's better that you do fast. Like I said, it's up to you. But take that note, that if your flight is after sun of Fajr, you have to fast. Why? Because what happens if your flight gets canceled, which is rare, I understand, right? Or if you're United Airlines, you get pulled off a flight or something like this, right? Then you can continue fasting, you know, and so you don't like, oh my God, I wish I would have started. Now you can't do anything, you're stuck, right? It's all qadar of Allah, you never know what might happen if you, okay? So that's another thing just to mention also about traveling.
About the timing of breaking fast, like you leave from Los Angeles and you keep your fast and you go in Toronto, Canada. So your break, Maghrib time there will be there, Asr time.
Yeah.
So you go by California time or Toronto?
No, you go wherever you are.
Oh.
So that's the ruling. So if you leave here at you know, whatever, like 3 o'clock, whatever, and you fly into the darkness, if you will, right? You're flying away from the sun. So you're technically your iftar might be like 2 hours shorter or something, or whatever that is. So whenever you look out the window and you see the sun set, you know, then you can break your fast right on the plane, right? Alhamdulillah, that's awesome. It's harder when you're flying from New York to get to Los Angeles. Your days are 3 hours, you know, longer, if you will. But yeah, so then you just look at wherever you're at. It's just like prayer time. Wherever you're at, wherever the Maghrib's right now, then you do it. Whether you're Antarctica, you're flying over, or wherever you might be, whatever you're at. So a good question. Yeah, some people have that. Good. Awesome.
So I have a question.
Sorry?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my daughter asking me, unfortunately she's in Ramadan, she will have a final test and she has like I don't know, she has like 2 or 3, something like that, and on one day. She said that, Mom, can I not fasting at that time, at that day? I said you can try first. If you cannot take it, then like just break your fast. Yeah.
Exactly.
But if she said that, at that night she was study or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the same thing as like you would think as traveling, that you start your fast. And even they said like people who construction workers are on the sun all day long, they're digging holes or whatever it might be, that if you feel like you're going to faint or you know what you're studying and you cannot concentrate, you're falling asleep, and you work so hard for that exam, and the exam comes now and you're like, you know, I don't want to ruin it, my 10 weeks of studying, or your semester system, 16 weeks of studying. So then if you can't do it, and like it's up to that decision, you know, how you feel, then you go ahead and you break it, and then inshallah you make it up. But obviously you try to continue. So don't just say, I have an exam today, I'm not going to wake up. You know, just like the thing, is just like traveling. You just go ahead and you do it, and then once you feel you're unbearable, you cannot do it, because massive headaches, or you're just falling asleep and you're not concentrating, then you could take the concession for that. Yeah. So that's a good question. Good question.
Thank you.
So menstruation, I went over the menstruation once again, women's post-bleeding. Women who are pregnant and breastfeeding, this is always like a curveball. Hard thing to understand, because when women is pregnant, technically they're not ill and technically they're not traveling. So what's this issue? That some people say, you know what, if they do fast, it might hurt the baby in the stomach. So they are encouraged to fast, but if they get the note from the doctor that says, you know what, they should not fast, it will harm the baby, then they're removed from fasting and they have to make that time up. Same thing for a woman that's breastfeeding. They might think that might have a issue with the milk that they're producing, or that they won't produce enough for that day. But you can see there's a lot of things that go around that. They could pump before the night for that fasting, and then they could feed their child. And so there's a lot of ways around it. And so they should look at their condition and make their decision whether they do that. Now, whatever if they don't fast, they'll have to make up that day. Now, this is the issue with some women, that they have a baby, they're pregnant, and then they have to breastfeed, and then they get pregnant again, and then they breastfeed, and they're in this cycle for like 6 years or 8 years. So then they have like 7 months of Ramadan to make up. So then it comes a hardship. So we said for a woman that, talk to your doctor first and foremost, but honestly that if you fast once a week after Ramadan, for a whole year, for 11 months, or that's 4 days every month, you'll make up 40 days. Like you can make up a whole month. And that's only once a week. That's not really that hard, you know. Like I said, you might think I'm belittling. I'm not trying to belittle anyone. But of course, talk to your doctor. If I fast once a week, is that going to harm my milk? Is that going to harm my baby? And he says, you know, that's not an issue. Then you can make up a whole month, you know. So after you start off with Ramadan, make up that month. So it is not impossible to do. So that's something that, you know, a woman should look at. And like I said, talk to your doctor and find out expert opinions on that. If they should fast, they should fast. So that is pretty much all in terms of those who are older and those who are Yeah, any traveling, and those are chronic sicknesses, and so forth. Questions or comments on that one? Okay, conditions which permit one not to fast, right? So we talked about this, about sickness, that they or they're recovering or might delay them or might increase their sickness, then they have to do a qada, means to make up their fast. This is more review now. If a person is well, but by fasting would become ill, then they're classified as being ill, right? So therefore that they will not fast. However, the concession cannot be obtained by mere speculation, consult with a Muslim doctor, past experiences, or clear signs will get them off the hook. Right? Good. Traveling, I don't know traveling. I had all these slides I forgot to put up. Right? Good. Women issues, we talked about that. Pregnancy and breastfeeding, we talked about that. I guess I forgot to put all these things. Yes. Actions that invalidate and do not invalidate. So there's some actions, kind of going back to the sister's question, actions that require a makeup, qada, and a kathara, a penalty. Actions that require just a qada to make up, but no penalty. Actions that require nothing, but are disliked. Actions that require nothing and are not disliked. So qada, like I mentioned before, is that you have to make up the fast. And kathara is that freeing up a slave, fasting 60 days, or feeding 60 people, right? With 2 meals a day, if you will. Those actions that require a qada and a kathara means that you intentionally eat something, you intentionally drink something, or you intentionally engage in intercourse with your spouse, knowing that you're fasting, if you will, right? And that would be that you have to you have to fast 60 days in a row, or like I said, feed 60 people. Right? Like when I said, it's all about intentional. You purposely do it. Okay. Now, those actions that require a makeup are that if you're being forced to eat. Okay, no one really does that. That's just not hard, right? Accidentally. Now, this is where the people split. And I'll let you know the difference of opinion, and I'll kind of let you pick, and I'll tell you my opinion on it. So, accidentally eating something. Okay. So, what do you accidentally eat something? What does that mean? So, once we said that, you are allowed to taste your food, like for those who are cooking, mostly sisters and brothers, I guess, cook also every now and then, right? So you are allowed to taste your food to see if it's too salty or if it's really bad tasting. You're allowed to do that. You put it on your tongue. Right? Now, how about if you put it on your tongue, right? And you're like, wow, it's really salty. Whoops, and you swallow it, right? Let me ask you guys, since you guys are all smart people. What's the difference between forgetfulness and what's the difference between accidentalness? I don't think accidentalness is the word, but I just made it up, so we're going to use it. What's the difference between accidentally being an accident and being forgetful?
Forgetfulness will be like Ramadan just started and somebody's not used to not eating and they just take a sip of water or juice.
Right.
So they forgot that they were fasting. Awesome,
beautiful, right? So we said that this means that when someone's mind is not present when they're doing it. Right? And the Prophet said that رُفِعَ الْقَلَمْ عَلَى النَّاسِ, that the pen has been lifted up on the person who forgets and the person who sleeps. So if you do something while you're sleeping, flip over, you hit somebody, right? Then you're not held accountable, right? Or if you forget, then you're not held accountable. So you walk by the fountain at school. I used to do it all the time. You always drink a cup of water or something, and then you just I'm fasting. Oh my God, I forgot. Then you're not held accountable. And there's a hadith where the Prophet said that if someone drinks forgetfulness, it's a gift from Allah.
But can you continue after that?
Then you can continue, no problem. Okay. There's a hadith that Abu Hurairah, he ate forgetfully. And he told the Prophet, what do I do? He said, this is a gift from Allah. Go ahead and continue. And then he ate again. He said, no, Prophet, I forgot, and I ate again. He said, it's okay, go ahead. And then the third time, one day, he ate again. And the Prophet said, you're clearly not a person that fasts very much. Right? This is kind of like a new thing for you or something, right? This is outside Ramadan, I believe. It was like an extra fast he was doing. So here that if you do it forgetfulness, and of course you don't play games, you're like sitting there like eating a burger. Oh, I didn't know. Don't play games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You guys, right? Allah knows what's in the hearts, I know what's in the mind. Okay. So forgetfulness is the presence of the mind out there. Accidentally, the presence of the mind is there, but you made a mistake. So the scholar is saying that forgetfulness, all the scholars agree that if someone forgetfully eats, drinks, it's hard to be forgetful to have relations with your spouse. But some scholars say that does happen, then there's some leeway to that. But that's, it's a little bending the rule. That's kind of obvious that you shouldn't do that. But some people get excited and they forget and stuff like this and whatever. But we'll put that to the side right now. So all scholars agree if you eat and you drink forgetfully, right, then you're off the hook. I told you, like I said, just don't play games. Accidentally is where they differ. So the Hanafis say, if you put something, you're tasting your food and you accidentally swallow it down, your fast is, that's weird, what was that? You shocked yourself. Someone says Islam alaikum, weird. Imaginary friend or something, I don't know. So if you accidentally eat something, the scholars have said in the Hanafi school, then guess what? Your fast is what? What do you think? You guys are all jurists now. I don't see your opinion. So
It's okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
What does okay mean?
Like you can still continue your fast.
You can still continue fast. Why?
Because like your intention was that you were fasting. Like you didn't mean to have the food come in. Like swallowed.
Good. Anyone else want to be a mufti?
That's accident. That's accident.
Accident, so continue fasting.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else?
I think it depends on the amount of food you consume.
Okay.
If it's just a sip of water or juice or something accidentally happens, or if you're eating a whole meal accidentally.
Yeah. Okay, good, right. So you see how you can look at different things. Intentions, one thing intentions the person didn't mean, but they accidentally did. So scholars looked at what does that actually mean. So the Hanafi school said that if you accidentally swallow or drink something, even if the quantity is great, small or large, your fast is broken. Because you purposely put that in your mouth, knowing that it's a cautious thing. You know that's trouble already by you tasting to see if this is sweet or this is salty. So you know you're already in dangerous territory. And if you swallow, then you put that act upon you. So therefore, like for example, if you're driving, you accidentally hit another car. Are you in trouble? Or you say, oh, sorry, it was just an accident. Sorry, I'll take care of it. Sorry, I just ruined your whole car. But do you have to pay the price? You have to. I accidentally killed this guy I was driving. I didn't see him. I ran over him. Right? No, you have to. If someone runs in front of the street, you don't see them. It's not murder. It's called manslaughter. Right? It's a little different. But still, you have to. There's a penalty for that. Even though that wasn't my intention. But seeing here that you purposely put that water in your mouth, or you purposely want to taste, or what else accidentally could you do? Sometimes they said back in the day, women used to, because there wasn't food processors, that when they had babies, they had to chew the food, even though they're fasting, and put it in the baby's mouth. I guess you could take a spoon and mush it up. I think that's easier. But they used to chew them, and then they used to put it in the baby's mouth. So if they do swallow that, I'm not talking about that, oh, I think something went down. That's different. I can taste it. That's different. That taste is from the tongue, it's not from the throat. Right? But even when you gargle your mouth in wudu, there's almost 100% there's some water that went down. So that's excusable. That is, everyone excuse that. I'm talking about like you accidentally, like a good portion went down or something went down there in the throat. Other scholars said, like some of you guys mentioned, that it was an accident, it wasn't intention. And deeds are by what? Intention. Right? So you see how intention is well, and the intention is that they meant to eat. But also your intention was that you did put that in your mouth. You see the difference? It's hard, right? So I'm just telling you that some schools said, the Hanafi school said, if you did accidentally, then, and then if other scholars said, like, no, that wasn't their intention. So I'll let you guys pick your own things, but if you want to go with Hanafi school, which I'm following myself, but anyhow, then that's it, right? So like I said, you see where the difference comes in. I want you guys to understand where the difference comes in, okay? Intentionally eating something that is not normally eaten. What does that mean? That means like if you would eat paper, which is weird. Why would you do that for? I don't know. But the scholars have talked about that, right? For a bug flies in your mouth, and you didn't mean that, but it will break your fast. Okay, right? So you don't have to pay a penalty because you didn't purposely do it, but it was an accident, right? And so some scholars once again say, I'm giving all opinions on my guy. That's why this session is more for you to understand the difference of opinions. Some scholars said that if it's nourishing or if it's not nourishing. Hanafis don't look at that. They just look at it if it went down here. They don't care if it's paper or if it's a rock or if it's your toy car, whatever it is, right? If it goes down, then floss your done. Other scholars look and say, you know what? We're looking at if it's nourishing or not nourishing. Meaning that if it's normally something that benefits the body, it gives you energy, right? So not a piece of paper, not a rock, not a bug. A bug might give you nourish. I don't know. Let's just put that to the side. But anyhow, right? So that they don't care about that. If you swallow something like this, if you will. Right? So that's just letting you know the difference of opinions in there. Like the Hanafi school, which I studied, so therefore I'm kind of buying by it. But like I'm giving you other opinions so you guys can know. You could go ahead and pick one, but obviously don't just play with it. Swallowing morsel of food already in the mouth after the start of fasting. So if you're eating, this is something where people don't like this rule, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you're eating sometime like, oh, my watch, I thought fasting started at 4:45, and it's 5:35, but it actually started at 5:35, but you thought it was 5:45, and so you're still eating at 5:40, for example, right? Here that your fast is broken, but you said accidentally, I didn't know. Like I read the line wrong on this chart, but sometimes it's hard to see which one it is, so I crossed mine off, right? I read the long wrong. 10 minutes is, you read like another month or something if you really have 2 minutes off or something, right? So, or you looked outside and it looked dark. So then you continue eating. Here then, and you didn't check the timing. So here that what? That your fast is broken. And the same thing at the ending of Ramadan, at the fasting, right? You didn't know it was 5 o'clock. You thought it was 5:05. So therefore, 5:40, 5 o'clock was the breaking of the fast. But you thought it was 5:05. So you kept on a 5:55, right? And so therefore you broke your fast 5 minutes early. You read the time wrong or somebody, whatever did wrong. That's an accident, right? Or the clock was off or something, the battery died or something on it. Then your fast is broken. Some scholars said, goes back to the accident thing, right? That wasn't his intention. So he continues. Like I said, the Hanafi school is that your fast is broken. Except once it's intent. Because you should look at the time and you should and looking at the window and see if it's dark is not a really wise thing to do. It could be a street light there, who knows? It could be like a mountain there, you might think it's dark or it's bright. So you need to take a little bit more caution, if you will. Okay. Those are some things there, if you will. And then there's ingesting food left in your mouth after the fast has started. So they have to get really technical. If it's bigger than a chickpea, which is a garbanzo bean, or chana, if you will, in your mouth, then they said that if there's something bigger than that in your mouth, and you have it in your mouth, and fasting has started, then you break your fast. Because some people get you said the game that they put a bunch of food in their mouth and they keep it there, and they're like, 10 minutes ago, they'll take a little bite of it, and so this is to stop those people from doing silly things, Who does these type of things? I don't know, all right? But you have to put these rules to stop these, whatever, 1% of the people in the world or something, right? So anyhow, so that's it, And then usually you gargle your mouth out once it. And if the then starts and you still have food in your mouth, it's not like that, finish it, for the next 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Don't just keep on eating, if you will. Some scholars said you can keep on eating a little bit more. That gets a little iffy, you know what I mean? People take that. So I'd rather more of the clear cut answer. I think that's a little bit better, if you will, to advise people. Using a suppository, but anything in the back of the anus or anything will also defeat or break your fast. Obviously that's for hemorrhoids or something has a type of medication, they do that. Self-induced vomiting, because there's a hadith where the Prophet said that someone made themselves vomit. I don't know who makes yourself vomit. Once again, I don't know who these people are, but if you make yourself vomit, it will break your fast. If you vomit, it came up, like how you're mentioning, it doesn't break your fast. But if you break your fast because you get really weak and you're going to faint or something, then that's another issue. But just the act of vomiting won't do it, if you will.
So if the migraine happens, you vomit, but you don't eat anything after, would that continue your fast?
Yeah, that's fine. Even if you vomit and you swallow it back down, we know it's disgusting, I know, whatever, but even if you swallow it back down, that's food that's already inside of you, and that's fine. So
you can still continue those 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought you meant that you can't take any more 5 minutes, so you want to break your fast. That's what I thought.
No, because that's what happened to me last year. Was my first. I fasted the whole day,
Yeah.
and then 10 minutes before, because I had bad migraine, so I ended up vomiting. But I didn't eat anything. But then I was not sure. I was like, what is it? Does it break your fast?
No. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood your question totally. Then. Yes. No. If you vomit, if you have a nosebleed, if your limb falls off, it doesn't matter, you can continue fasting. Yeah, I thought you meant that you can't take the 10 minutes more, you had to drink something. No, okay, no, then you continue fasting, right? It doesn't break your fast at all, right? It's only like they said, self-induced vomiting. Like I said, I don't know who does that, but if you do, but there's hadith on it, so that's where you put it there, if you will. So the scholars have talked about also what leads to the stomach. So medical doctors know that the ear canal leads down to the throat, and so does the nose, right? And it goes into your stomach. That's why you could, I know another disgusting thing, but anyhow, you could sniff your nose and then you could spit it out, right? Because it's called connects. Sorry, I just have to. So, so they talk about eardrops and they talk about nose sprays. So does that break your fast? So they said that if you don't put like a lot of spray in your nose, where you could actually fill it in your throat, or a lot of ear drops, you have to put a lot of ear drops to finally get it down your throat. You have to, like, I don't know how much you put, I'm not a medical doctor. So if you do too much of that and it gets to the throat and goes down, then it breaks your fast. Okay? Some people said that it's not nourishing. That spray is like saline, right? So it's like what, salt water almost, kind of, right? So therefore, that doesn't do it, right? So once again, there's two camps: nourishing or not nourishing. And some people say they don't care about nourishing or not. Like eating paper for them, as long as they're just looking at what goes down the throat. If it's a bug, if it's a toy car, it doesn't matter. Anything down there, it breaks your fast. That's why the more literal approach, if you will, which is a Hanafi school, and then some people have a more the different approach of more if it's nourishing or and so forth. So that you guys know the difference of opinions there. This is so silly. Unswallowing rainwater, wudu water, right? This type of stuff. Like I said, anything goes down the throat will make you break your fast. Like I said, it's two camps. Once again, you guys know the camps now. Alhamdulillah. Right? Whether intentionally or not intentionally, forgetfully or forgetfully, you guys see the difference there. Blood, they said, that comes in the mouth, if you swallow it down, it breaks your fast. So if you do bleed in the mouth or in the nose, then spit it out, get it out, because it shouldn't be going down the throat. Like I said, the Hanafi school looks at whatever's going down the throat. Right? A little bit more, if you will. Good. Right, and that's also, like I said, anything go through the nose or the mouth or the ears, and then the back also, the anus, they also look at that. Going here, things are required. So asthma, inhalers. So some scholars said that there's no nourishing in it if you do an asthma. Most of it, that steam, not steam, but that, the, whatever it's called, vapor, goes more in the lungs and it goes down the esophagus, down the belly. But there's a good amount maybe that might go down, or a little bit amount might go down in the stomach. Once again, Hanafis, you guys all know the rule of the Hanafis, what? They're just looking at what? What goes down? The throat. So an inhaler would what? It would break the fast, right? And so that's why smoking is also, you can't smoke, right? Or now people do vaping now, right? Some people say that, in another opinion, I'll let you guys know both camps, that the inhaler doesn't give you nourishment. And most of it goes in the lungs. Then it goes down the throat, down the esophagus, down to the stomach. So therefore, it's totally okay. So now you know the difference of opinion. Choose what you like. Okay.
So people that have asthma, then you can use inhalers that can't fast ever for the rest of their life?
Like I said, they'll take the opinion, well, they can take the opinion if they believe it, that it's not something that's nourishing, and most of it goes in the lungs and not the stomach. So therefore, you can inhale all you want. Which opens the door to people who want to vape, right? You can see that. You see the door, the issue now? Like, oh, it's vaping, it's okay then. Because it's all in your lungs, and therefore, that thing goes down the stomach.